Hello everybody out there, Andrew Love here, and I haven't made a video in way too long, but I'm going to start making regular videos. I haven't committed to like a certain amount per week, but at least once a week, whatever. I wanted to make a video about prayer versus meditation because some people write off everything and they just say, I don't need it, I'm a practical minded person. And then some people say meditation's better than prayer and you don't need prayer. Some people, who pray, some religious people, they're like, oh, meditation is for sinners or whatever. But I just think there's a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication because, meditation is associated with a whole world of kind of like yoga, obviously yoga meditation from the East, South Asia, but it's also, now that it's migrated to the West, it's affiliated with like the whole foodsy granola bathing in almond milk crowd. And prayer is really kind of connected to this really stiff, rigid, religious context. I think in a lot of people's minds, definitely growing up, that's how I viewed both. And so I just opted out of everything. So whether you meditate exclusively and think that prayer is for fools, or you pray and you think that meditation is for hippy-dippy, shippy-lippies, or you just are like a logical skeptic who thinks it's all rubbish, this video's for all of the above. I'm already out of breath and I haven't even said anything of actual substance yet. So, let's start with, are they both the same thing? No, they're not. They're totally different and they serve different functions. And I've experimented extensively with both because I grew up doing neither. I wanted to figure out, is there value to either, and can you hedge your bets and just do one so that you don't have to waste your time doing a bunch of internal stuff when you could be doing all this amazing external stuff. And let me start by saying that the more internal stuff that you do, like prayer and meditation, the more it actually adds value to the external stuff that you do in your own mind. You're able to relate with it on a deeper level because you're existing in a different state of mind and a different state of spirit and heart and all this. Okay, so that's the one thing, is that, a lot of times we just don't feel like we have time to meditate or pray. We totally do, because I know a lot of people are like, I don't have time for that. And the next time I see them, they're like, Facebook, Instagram. I'm like, whoa, you're wasting your life. You do have time for both of these things. I have 3 kids. One is a newborn. I don't sleep that much, as you can tell. But it's just a phase of my life. Like, when you have a newborn baby in your room, you just have to kind of throw out sleep and say, I'll get what I can get. I don't have much time. I wake up at 5:30 every morning and I go to bed usually around midnight, sometimes a little bit later if I'm really pushing it. And I still have time to meditate first thing. First I go to work out and then I meditate. And then at night I pray. So let's get into what is the difference between prayer and meditation, okay? And this is what I can surmise. If you know better, if you have some deeper insights in this, please share with me. But if you just have opinions but you haven't really deeply experimented, like with prayer, I've been experimenting for 10 years, solid, every day, like a long time every day, to figure out its true value. And with meditation, it's been off and on for about 5 years, right? So this is not just theory or me watching other people's YouTube videos and then making this. I wanted to talk about the differences, okay? So with prayer, okay, the value of prayer is that, if you believe in God, which I definitely have grown to build an appreciation for, not just the belief in God, but prayer is actually a relationship, it's a conversation. And the beauty of prayer is that when you really experiment with it, and if you're a true skeptic, chances are you really haven't prayed that long. Because I know a lot of people who call prayer nonsense or stupid or illogical haven't prayed, and that's actually illogical and non-scientific because you haven't tried it out. So just because you can't prove it in some sort of, practical chart or graph, that's the basis of science. Why science exists is to figure things out and take it from intangible or idea or theory and experiment with it until you come to a conclusion. So in my experience with prayer it's really a conversation with the divine, right? And that can take many shapes and forms. It depends on, what your religious background is or what your spirituality is. But prayer is really speaking from your heart. It's silencing the mind, mostly, and speaking from the heart. And this is the intangible heart. But what's crazy is that, when you experience actual heartbreak, like emotional pain, when somebody dumps you, you actually feel it in your physical heart. So there is some definite connection there between the metaphysical and the physical. But through prayer, what you're doing is, through a conversation, you first find out what you actually believe on anything. Because if you're being honest, it's not about saying these grandiose things. It's about speaking sincerely from a deep place within about what you think and what you feel about life and about certain topics. And then, it's also, the second part of it is you're waiting for an answer, which is scary. It's really scary, to be honest, because as a faithful person, I think we are always one step away from being skeptical because we're like, what if? What if I don't get an answer? What if things don't happen the way that I want? And so we're actually, we're asking a question, but we're in certain ways expecting an answer to not come. So when you do ask, right, it is important to ask and give the space for an answer to come. But if you ask a question, wait for an answer, and it might not come right away. With prayer, I've experienced very clearly a response that happened immediately, and that was when I was actually thinking about marrying my now wife. There were a couple options on the table, let's say, and I didn't want to live a life of what if she's not the one. So the only way I could really figure it out is not charts and graphs like a comparative essay and be like, well, this person can bring me these attributes and this person, I don't want to do that. I don't, from a practical mindset, because love is not practical. It can be, there's elements of practicality, but then there's some deep needs that we have emotionally that need to be met and all this stuff. So when I prayed about her, I actually got an immediate response. I didn't even have to finish my question, and I got this strong, overwhelming. My wife is from Mongolia, and so when people say I got an answer from my prayer, I think it can come in different forms, and I've heard some people it's actually they hear voices, which that'd be kind of creepy to me. Some people get strong visuals. Some people just get this strong intuition, which I've had, an inclination where you just know something is right, beyond a shadow of a doubt. With this in particular, I prayed looking for, who might be the right person, and it was Mongolia. I didn't even finish, is it Mongolia? I was whoa. So I did it once, and then I did it again, Mongolia, and then it was so intense that I was just okay, got it. And from that moment on, I never questioned it. And we've been married almost 7 years now, and it's we've had our ups and downs, but I've never questioned that decision because I know deep down what I've committed to because of that prayer. It's kind of crazy, kind of intense. Where was I? I'm kind of going all over the place. This is the first video I've made in a long time. Prayer, also you're getting an answer, and for other times, I will ask a question through prayer, speaking from a deep part of me. Not just saying, I want a new pair of pants. How do I get a new pair? Because then you're just thinking. You're just thinking about your base desires, which is very surface level. But your deep heart of hearts, I've asked questions about, if I was stuck on a decision about where to live, where to take my family. We have all these options. I don't want to just logically decide. Sometimes an answer came to me days later or weeks later, but don't forget, the point is don't forget that you asked the question and continually ask the question until an answer presents itself, and then pray about that answer, and then until you feel this sense of that's it. That's enough for me to live with. And I think prayer can be really useful for that. So even, like I said, in terms of your relationships with people, I've never questioned, is my wife the one? Because she is, because I made that decision. Not because she's the only person in the world that I could be married to, but she's the one that I've committed to with everything, because I consulted my heart, and then it's like, yeah, that's enough. So then I just gave my heart to my wife, and I said, here, it's yours. Here are the keys. Have fun. And sometimes, yeah, she's kicked and punched it, and I've definitely taken some pot shots to her heart. But we're learning how to love. So asking questions is really important from your heart of hearts, and getting into a mystical state is also super important with prayer. Like, and that can be like listening to certain kind of music. And for some people, it's that like Enya candle shop music, the body shop soap and fragrances store music. For other people, it's like more ruckus music, really gets them into a state that transcends their average state of thinking and feeling. And you can evoke emotions, and in that emotional state, it's easier to tap into deeper questions. Again, so you're not thinking and questioning at a superficial level of your base needs as a human. It's much better to use that part of you, that prayer side of you, to connect with the infinite. And when you compare, I'm short on rent this month versus, where is humanity going to be in 3,000 years, and how can I contribute to the trajectory of humanity for the next 3,000 years? It's a totally different state of like really relating with those questions. And to get into that mystical state of actually deeply contemplating depth, questions of the infinite. That means no time and space. It means consulting with the past, present, and future. Like these kind of things is like you can converse on that level with God, with the divine, in that state. And who wouldn't want that? That's why people do so many different kinds of drugs. I'd say probably not cocaine is like, just a stimulant to get you hopped up to, I don't know what people do, dance, footloose, I don't know. But, things like LSD, that's specifically why hippies started doing it, is to connect with the divine. And it's a fake alternative shortcut that to me is like, it's such a cop-out. And it's never as good as the original, like actually going through the motions of having several prayers that suck to get to that one that really connects. But, getting into that mystical state, you'll find your way. Some people need to walk in nature. Some people need to do something of value for another person. Like after a long day of serving, going and serving the homeless or whatever, you're in a much more emotional state because you're connected to something beyond yourself. And when you pray in that state, you will get answers and feelings and ideas that are not normally accessible. Let's just say it that way. So prayer is really about your heart, as far as I can tell. It's really about connecting to a deeper understanding of self and how that is connected to everything else. Because if I were to tell you, like, we're made up of molecules, and those molecules were made up of stardust and all this stuff, is like, yeah, so what? So what if what we perceive to be matter is actually non-matter, because there's more negative space than actual connected space, right? But if I say that, that's just, who cares? It's like, so what? I got bills to pay, man. That's true. But that's, again, this is where we're normally thinking. I got bills to pay. I got rolls on my belly. I got to do some more ab workouts and this kind of stuff. And that's up here. But if you want to go deep and experience the transcendent or whatever, that sounds so crunchy, but if you want to experience thoughts that we don't normally have access to, you need to find yourself in a mystical state. And for different people, they'll be able to access that depending on how they're wired in different ways. There's a myriad of ways. That's up to you to experiment. Let me know what works for you. What works for me is it has to be at night. I cannot pray in the morning. I know some people who have really deep prayers in the morning. My prayers, when I've tried it and experimented in the morning, suck. They're like, blah, 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 blah. Am I done yet? Can I have coffee? Blah, 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 blah. Right? Useless. My most accessible route, the fastest route for me to the mystical, the divine, the whatever, is at night. And I can't be too tired, but kind of tired, right? And I often need, like, having a candle or something, just one candle. I don't need a bunch of props, but helps. And then some music definitely helps. It can be, sometimes I'll listen to like Christian music, like there's a band called Hillsong. Sometimes I'll listen to like meditation music. Sometimes I'll just listen to a song I really like that is instrumental, because if it has too many words, it distracts me. But just like a really deep emotional song to kind of evoke deeper thoughts, and that kind of is like churning the soil for me to start going and planting some really good, interesting seeds, and then starting a communication. It's not just about talking, it's about the space and listening as well. So I'm kind of going all over the place, but then let's just delve into meditation. What I've seen really works, and what I understand is there's actually two kinds of meditation. One is for your mind, and one is actually for your body. Let's say the mind one, that's visualization. You can do guided meditation. You can do, I do one called the 6-phase meditation. There's the Omvana app where you can get the 6-phase meditation, and it helps to really structure it. It's 20 minutes, it's very structured. It takes you through six things to focus on, right? And the point is that your mind is gonna wander. You cannot stop your brain from, wandering. If you did, I think something bad might happen, because it's like the same with your heart. You won't want your heart to stop. So your mind is not about stopping it, but it is about focusing it. So like when you focus on the future, you can focus on the past, resolving the past, and the present. What am I going to do right now? What do I want to feel right now? And so for me, the value of meditation is you get your mind to control your body to feel whatever you want it to feel. If you're not careful, that could mean fear and anxiety, but meditation is the opposite. It's like learning how to feel gratitude and connection to people, and even resolving resentments from the past. Like you can do all this through visualization, which is really powerful. But what I've recently learned is that type of meditation is actually called mindfulness, not true meditation. True meditation is like through breathing and through, you can use mantras, but you're focusing your energy on relaxing your body and helping your body to heal in many different ways. But it's different than visualization. So that's kind of what I use meditation for, is you can heal your body and your mind and all that. But really the deep work of your heart and connecting your heart to God or to the divine is through prayer. I have so much to say, and I'm trying to say it all in one video for some reason. I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this. I'm just offering this because I know that if you wanna get over anxiety, if you wanna get over judgment of yourself and judgment of other people and like resentment and all this stuff, it's gonna take a combination. And so the real value is doing both. It's not either or, it's both and. Because actually I cannot do meditation until I've worked out first. I gotta work my body out, and because that also helps to clear my mind. And then when I get into meditation, I can be more, I've already got some endorphins pulsating through me, and then, with some good mindfulness, I can then release some dopamine and then feel nice and high. It's a natural, way of getting high. It's awesome. That's my idea. Meditation in the morning after workout, and then at night I pray. For you, it might be different. I know some people that wake up, read some sort of holy scripture thing, something that connects their minds, and then they'll go into prayer and connect their hearts. So experiment. You experiment, and let me know how it works. Okay? And thank you for watching.